Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you guys already know, I love fried food. I mean, who doesn't love fried food? But if you're on a keto diet, it's really hard to avoid the flour. So I like to find recipes and alternatives to enjoy the fried foods that I used to eat before I started keto. So I'm gonna show you guys a keto-friendly and carnivore-friendly popcorn shrimp recipe or fried shrimp recipe that is super, super easy to make and absolutely delicious. And we're just gonna jump right in. The key to making, honestly, anything fried for me that's keto or carnivore is pork panko. Pork panko is the secret ingredient. I like this one by Pork King Good. I've used this in all my videos. I'm not sponsored by them, but they're so, so delicious. I get these on Amazon, so if you're interested in purchasing these, make sure to head to the links in my description below. We're gonna take the pork panko and we are just going to throw it into this bowl. Now, you can also just take pork rinds and then throw them in a food processor and it'll make pork panko, but I like to buy the pork panko already made because I feel like it's better filtered, doesn't have any hard bits that you can't really eat, and this just makes it like it's completely even and really delicious. And I like to get the original one. Has a little bit of salt in it, but I like that. It's really similar to breadcrumbs, and if you've tried any of my other fried or like panko coated recipes that I've made before, it turns out just as crunchy as if you used breadcrumbs. I have the pork panko here. I also have some freshly grated Parmesan. You can buy it pre-grated, but I like the freshly grated. It doesn't have any like coating additives or anything, and it's just way, way better when you're actually frying something, and it's better for your health. And I'm just going to lightly combine this all together. Now, I'm gonna be adding a few seasonings because this is keto carnivore friendly. If you are strictly carnivore, you can only add salt. So just add the salt, that's fine. And you don't need to add anything else. But if you are keto and you can have different seasonings, or if you're carnivore kind of like you know, you do use seasonings, but you're on a carnivore diet, then you can add these as well. I'm gonna sprinkle in salt. And this is about like a pinch to a teaspoon of each of these. Again, it depends on how much you're making. I'm just showing for demonstration how much you're gonna use, and this is for like one person. But you can, and I'll include, of course, all the ingredients, all the measurements in the description below. And I've added salt, pepper, and this is a little bit of chili powder. Now, if you don't like things with a little bit of a kick, don't add the chili powder. You could use smoked paprika instead, but I like the chili powder not only for the spiciness, but also for the color that it gives the coating. I'm gonna add a little bit of dried parsley, and this is some dried basil. Again, avoid the chili, the basil, and the parsley if you do not, if you're on a strictly carnivore diet. And now we're just going to combine all of these together. Now, the Parmesan might sound a little bit weird if you're coating something, you know, like shrimp in this, but the Parmesan kind of adds like a really nice flavor. Trust me on it, especially with the pork panko. It goes really well together to bind to anything that you're coating. Now it's time to coat our shrimp. I have some shrimp here in front of me. It is peeled and deveined. Now you can leave the tail on, just the tail end, not like the skin that's around, or the shell that's around the bottom piece of the shrimp. I just like all of it off because I just like to throw these into my mouth and not have to worry about the tail or pulling anything off. But as long as you have the main part of the shell off, that's the most important piece here. I'm gonna throw these into an egg wash and then straight into my coating. You don't have to do an egg wash if you don't want, but I think that the coating sticks a lot better when you do it with an egg wash. So that's what I would recommend. Typically when you're battering any kind of like shrimp or chicken or whatever you're, coating something in, you do like flour and the egg wash, but we don't do the flour here. So the egg wash still gives it the ability for whatever to actually stick to what you're coating. So I have my shrimp in my coating and I'm just gonna toss it to make sure that everything is well coated. Make sure that every piece has the coating on it. Even before I started keto, I like things lightly coated or lightly, breaded. And so I like when there's a little bit of, it's not completely covered sometimes, like this one's completely covered, but I like when there's some open bits just because I like I said, little breading. So if you are someone that likes a lot of coating, then you could do the egg wash with the this Panko multiple times to make sure that it is completely like a thick coating all the way around. That's just completely based on your preference. The only difference is that you would just do this multiple times. You might need to add some more Panko as well because it's gonna get, a little bit wet like this. And so you wanna make sure that you have dried Panko that can stick to the shrimp itself. With any good recipe, you need the perfect sauce to go with it. And one of my favorite is spicy mayo. You guys have seen me make it before, but I'm gonna make it a little bit differently for this one. I'm gonna take some mayonnaise. And this is all based on taste. So if you like it super spicy or a little bit less spicy, play around with how much you're actually using for this. I'm also gonna add some Sriracha. You can add whatever kind of hot sauce you have. If you don't have Sriracha, use Cholula or use, just don't use Buffalo. That one doesn't really go too well with this recipe, but like a Sriracha or Cholula or something with a pretty mild flavor and more spice, that's what you're looking for. I like the Sriracha because it has a little bit of sweetness. I do like this one. Make sure that when you're purchasing Sriracha and you're on a keto or low carb diet, that you make sure there's not a lot of added sugar. This one doesn't have that much added sugar to it. Just make sure you're looking at the recipe, check the back, that there's not too many carbs so it's not kicking you out of ketosis or out of your macros. And of course, I forgot to mention that this is just for the keto folks. If you're carnivore, this is not a sauce that you can eat with this recipe unless you're a ketovore, then you can eat it with this. It's very, very low in carb. This whole recipe is low in carb. But finishing up our sauce, I have the mayonnaise, my Sriracha, and I'm gonna add a little bit of lime juice. It's about a tablespoon of lime juice. Final thing I'm gonna add is I'm gonna add some chives. So I'm going to just take my scissors, these are my kitchen shears, and chop some chives in here. Looks good. And combine this all together. You could also just purchase spicy mayonnaise if you find that they sell Sriracha mayo already made, but I like to make it homemade. That way you can play with the recipe, add a little bit more lime juice if you want, a little bit more Sriracha, more mayonnaise, whatever is to your preference. And I like the sauce a little bit on the thicker side. I don't want it to be too runny, and that is perfect. That is exactly the consistency that I want. Setting our sauce aside, let's head over to fry our shrimp. Time to fry our shrimp. I have a nonstick pan here in front of me. You can also use a pot if you want, but I'm not going to be deep frying this. I'm just going to be lightly pan frying it. I have some ghee here. So this is carnivore friendly. You can also use avocado oil if you're keto, or any kind of oil that has a high heat point of choice. But since I'm lightly frying and I want to keep this to a completely carnivore friendly version for the shrimp, even though I know I added the seasonings, but carnivore friendly for the shrimp, this is a perfect alternative. that you can use to fry. So I'm just going to coat my nonstick pan. My pan is nice and hot, and now we can drop in our shrimp. All you want to do now is lightly fry your shrimp. You can use tongs to flip it over. That's kind of this makes it a little bit easier to flip them. If you're deep frying it in a pot of some sort, then you would want to use something like a spatula to get them out. But I'm going to be using these tongs, and I'm going to flip them over. Our shrimp are ready to cook on the other side. And just cook this, like I said, until they're ready. They should be nice and golden at the end. Another really great tool to invest in your kitchen is a oil splash screen. This is just such a game changer. Doesn't get the oil on your skin. I'll link it in the description below if you want to purchase this on Amazon. When your shrimp is done, it should look nice and golden, crispy like this. I am going to take them out and put them on a paper towel. That way we can drain any excess oil or ghee, whatever you're using to cook this. And here is our final dish, our keto-friendly, carnivore-friendly fried shrimp or popcorn shrimp. So delicious. It just smells absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to dig in. You can also squeeze some lime juice on top if you want at the very end. I'm gonna dip it into our delicious sauce, and cheers. The shrimp is nice and crunchy on the outside, nice, soft, warm and delicious on the inside. Our sauce is a little bit spicy with a little bit of a lime juice kick. I cannot wait for you guys to try this recipe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and also hit that notification bell to never miss a tasty upload. Till next time.